Welcome to Art is Good For You, the podcast spreading the message that making and experiencing art can help with healing and happiness no matter who we are. I'm Rachel Duffield, and after nearly 20 years working in museum education, I gave it all up to start a community interest company helping people in rural communities make and experience art. At 52, I'm so lucky to be living the dream as a full-time artist, art teacher, and now podcaster. It's my belief that even if art isn't up front and centre in your life, it can still have a big impact, sometimes in unexpected ways. So I'm inviting people from all walks of life, some arty, some not, to chat with me about the 3 pieces of art in their life that have turned out to be memorable, special, or even life-saving. My guest today is someone who I knew a decade ago as a friendly yet persuasive force for sustainable museum practice. Now, she's putting her hard-working and creative brain to good use managing major heritage projects in Norfolk. Describing herself modestly as a museum professional and the daughter of an artist, her love of writing and performing amateur dramatics is what fills her spare time. She especially loves panto. Oh, no, she doesn't. Hannah, welcome to Art is Good For You.
Thank you, Rachel. And oh, yes, I do.
Thank you very much. Yes, so a museum professional, tell us just a little bit, tiny little bit about your work, because you've been doing some really exciting things recently.
I have. I've been very lucky to be working in museums for almost 20 years now. Most recently, over the last 7 years, involved in the redevelopment of Norwich Castle. So our huge transformation of our Norman Castle keep as part of the Royal Palace Reborn project. So that has definitely kept me busy for the last few years.
Quite an epic project, that one.
Definitely.
Well done you for getting it over the line. And I've heard many brilliant things. I haven't been and seen it yet myself. Can you believe it? But I can't wait till I do. So I asked you to do a bit of prep, didn't I, for this podcast? And you very dutifully sent me a long email with lots of information in it, which is really, really helpful. So the first thing I asked about was a sort of ratio between creator and consumer. So tell us what you chose to put, because it was interesting the way because you changed it, didn't you? You gave an extra category.
I did, and I can't remember the statistics, but essentially I kind of completely ruined all of your records because between creator and consumer, I thought, well, I do a bit of that, probably sort of 15% maybe each of that, but actually the majority of my time is probably on facilitation, on administration, and almost supporting others to do their creativity. That's
Yeah.
the daughter of the artist in me, which I know I shouldn't define myself by others, but it's been throughout my life part of who I am and what I do.
So facilitating art, that seems to be your natural place where you land. You're one of those sort of wind beneath the wings people, and or a torch illuminating. And so what does that, is it more than just a job? Is that how you are outside of work as well as inside of work?
My father is a lino cutter. He's been printmaking for well over 70 years now. And he's fair to say that what he does is he loves his art, he loves his lino cuts, he loves his printmaking. He doesn't love writing letters and filling out forms and things like that. And so I guess, naturally fell into that role. And even throughout university, I was supporting the Norwich Print Fair, which he was heavily involved in, which is a celebration of original art. And I think there was a sort of very natural progression then when I came back to Norfolk after university that I'd sort of continue in any way that I could to support him. And it was something that gave me joy as well. So I could, ask for adverts to be placed or write letters for various things and initiatives. But it was about, supporting him. And then I guess that sort of fell into how I work within my museum career. So I've been very lucky to work with lots of amazingly creative people to create exhibitions, events and activities. And I guess, the natural organizer in me sort of swings into action, goes, right, how can we do this? What do I need to do to get the most end result? So.
Yeah, and we flaky creatives need some people like you around us to do that, because I'm really bad at admin myself. It's not because I can't do it; it's just I can't bear to do it. It's just like, ugh.
Well, I think that's it. I think if you're actually an incredibly creative person, that's what you want to do. That's what drives you. It isn't filling in a form or contacting a gallery or similar. So yeah, if it's something that those of us who love our spreadsheets and love our documents can sort of support, and then the end result is the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
And I know I've got a lot of friends who are artists who administration is down the bottom of the list because they want to be painting, they want to be printmaking, they want to be creating their art.
Yeah. It takes a village, as they say.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, so let's move on to your three pieces of art. Your first piece is I asked you to say the first thing that you can sort of remember as artwork appearing in your life, and tell us what you chose.
Well, I think as a child of the 1980s, I just grew up on amazing picture books. I was sort of very lucky to be around at that time. And being a museum curator sort of style archivist, I obviously still have all my childhood books.
Of
So,
course.
it's the Each Peach Pear Plums of this world. It's the
Yes.
Janet Albergs and Alan Albergs, and those amazing illustrations where you can just spend hours just being lost in the pictures. And I mean, I can still
Yeah.
recite Each Peach Pear Plum without looking at the book, probably upside down and everything like that. But I guess a really big influence for me was also Shirley Hughes.
Yeah.
I grew up on sort of Lucy and Tom, and I have to still get out my Lucy and Tom's Christmas every Christmas. It's part
Oh,
of my festive tradition for myself, and it takes me right back to family Christmases when I was little. But again, it is the quality of the illustrations, and I think is my sort of overarching memory of a kind of real image that I guess maybe summed up so much emotion. I don't know whether you can see it, but
yeah.
it's
Oh,
Tom
yeah. They're
getting
gorgeous.
very sort of angry and cross. Christmas can be quite tiring. Tom gets very excited about his presents and rather cross. And I think that's probably every family Christmas that I ever had when I was little as well. That excitement where it just gets so much that,
Yeah.
you just tip over to the edge. And Tom's face just remains with
Yeah.
me to this
Yeah.
day. And those early childhood memories of
Mm.
of reading, and my mum didn't go back to teaching until I was sort of about 6 or 7. So, you come back from playgroup and we'd spend an hour or so just sort of sitting there and reading. And yeah, those books have remained with me, and the illustrations in particular.
Yeah, and I suppose what makes them so nice is the happy associations and the warmth and loving atmosphere and being with your mum and
Absolutely.
all that sort of stuff. I'm a decade older than you, so the ones that she was publishing when I was a kid were My Naughty Little Sister. And I absolutely loved those because I was the naughty little sister. Although I had a brother older. So
Hmm.
it felt right. And even though I wasn't naughty at all, but I think I sort of really wanted the idea of being the naughty little sister. And again, those pictures, as soon as you said Shirley Hughes in your email, I just you just remember them because they're just so beautifully placed, aren't they? And the words and the pictures match. And it's interesting how all these things really feed into your career, don't they? The sort of archivist and the curation and the sort of completing the set and things like that. It's yeah.
I think I've been very lucky to be able to do something that I love. I wanted to work in museums because I loved social history. I loved sort of creating those experiences where you could make those connections with
Mm,
people who lived thousands of years ago, or illustrators writing a few decades ago, kind of, but to have that sort of sense of connection. And
yeah.
so, yeah, everything I've then done in my spare time is of a similar nature, because again, it's what I enjoy, what I love.
The second one is art as a lifeboat. So this is art that's helped you out in troubled or difficult times. And you've given me a couple of examples, which are lovely. So the first one was when you went off to university.
Going to university, first time properly away from home, scary new people to meet, and experiences, and just being in a completely different place.
Yeah.
And I realized that I had gone to university clutching some of my dad's lino cuts, just
Oh,
small little ones, but ones that sort of made me connect back to him, but also to North Norfolk. So to
yeah.
I think I specifically had one of slipway detail, one of his little boats, sort of it's a scene from Sheringham, and it
Mm.
was, part of my part of my childhood was always we needed to go somewhere for Dad's inspiration. So we would
Right.
spend a lot of time walking around Sheringham, walking around Cromer. Yeah, so I remember having this small little lino cut that I took away, but
Mm.
equally, I just filled my university walls with postcards of art and photographic imagery and things like that that kind of gave me connections to the sea, to the coastline in particular, but also to places that I've been with family and friends, because it was like, yeah, taking those connections
Yeah.
with me. So
Yeah. And also
definitely,
your uni was landlocked, as you said, as well. So you were way
it
away
was
from the sea.
distinctly a far, I know, and someone who grew up in Norfolk where you
Yeah.
can't be far away from the sea, and that experience of kind of, almost having your skins torn away by the North Sea,
You
or
missed that?
North wind. Oh yes, it was the first thing I'd had to coming back from university. I go,
Yeah.
right, I need to kind of blow away the cobwebs almost.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly
And
the
so
phrase, isn't
yes,
it? Yeah.
having that kind of, abrasive nature of
Yeah.
that wind that would just kind of, kind of make you feel fresh and new again,
Yes.
was really important as well. I got to the stage where I had so many kind of blue tack marks all over the walls that I ended up sort of putting postcards onto ever bigger sheets of cards, so at least there'll be fewer items for me to try and clean up before I vacated various university rooms, sort of thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
having imagery around me was so important at that time,
So
and still.
you created
I
your own little
really
museum.
did. Yeah,
Museum of
absolutely.
You.
Oh
How
yes.
lovely. How lovely. So your second lifeboat are also relating to the sea. So tell me about those
Yeah,
hats.
but in a slightly different way. So I was on a much needed holiday in Amsterdam when I received the news that my mum had been taken into hospital. Ultimately, it transpired she'd got cancer, and I guess I was in Amsterdam. I'd been there a few times. I'd also taken my mum there, and I ended up in the Rijksmuseum, as you do. And there is a particularly uh, sort of often overlooked, I guess, display of Dutch whalers' caps in
Right.
the Rijksmuseum, and it was something that Mum and I I'd actually specifically taken her to see because I knew that she would be fascinated after leaving a career in teaching. She did an access to art course. She became a textile artist and also a strong advocate for textile art. So I needed somewhere that was quiet, that I could sort of go and reflect, and I was just instantly drawn back to that display. And again, that kind of link of having been able to share that with my mum,
Yeah.
and her reaction to seeing textiles on display in the Rijksmuseum as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that
Oh,
was probably I mean, my lifeboats literally are quite often lifeboats. They are
lifeboat.
connected to the sea. I realize, but yeah, again, that has played such an important part of
Yeah.
my life.
Oh, thanks, Hannah. That's a really lovely example of how art can just help in a really simple way. And it's because it's not just the piece of art itself, like you said, it's all the connections and associations that one has to it. And it really it sounds a little bit navel gazy, but it's true, isn't it? It really does help. Art is good for you,
Absolutely.
as I always say. Right, so segueing seamlessly into a strong reaction. The third part of this was to ask you about a piece of art that you had a really strong reaction to, whether it's positive or negative, or tears, laughter, shock, or whatever. What was yours?
So I think it was a realization probably when I was sort of in my early teens that art didn't have to conform to any particular size, shape, or otherwise.
Yeah.
And also kind of a celebration of the ordinary, almost the domestic. It didn't have to be on grand themes,
Mhm.
um, and might think, well, surely you knew that through sort of looking at my dad's work of fishermen's and their sou'westers and things like that. But actually, for me, I think a key moment was visiting the Sainsbury's Centre. And it's an artist called Anthony Green, who really very much went for those sort of Ordinary scenes of domestic life. Absolutely loved his wife, Mary, and quite a lot of his work is inspired by his family and his connections, but quite often in really ordinary settings. So I chose the bathroom at 29, which was on the wall in the Sainsbury's Centre,
Ooh,
just near the cafe. And it's that slightly unusual shape. It
yeah.
kind of just encapsulates, I mean, it's Mary giving him a bath. But it's you've got the strings of washing lines on the top with all the slightly bent wire coat hangers
Mm.
whereby everything's sort of been really well loved and used. It's got the slightly archaic plumbing of the old pool toilet thing. It was a glimpse into their domestic setting. It was just there on the wall, really unusual shape. And I think it also kind of then evoked back to my memories of reading as a small child, and it's back in the Alan
Yeah,
Elberg
it's got a touch
and
of
Janet
that about
Elberg
it, hasn't it?
territory. There's a lovely piece in Peepo, which again was another firm favourite of mine when I was growing up. And Peepo, there's rainbow rim mirror. And I
Mm.
think that also kind of made a connection to me, that sort of
Yeah.
unusual shape of the mirror in the 1950s style domestic setting there, and this bathroom at 29. But
Mm.
I think again it kind of chimes back to museums and my interest in more social aspects rather than maybe those grand political statements. And that also chimes back to being able to sort of look at art where it is very much about um, the smaller scale, those moments that matter to maybe
Yes.
a tiny number of people, or even just a couple, but
Mm.
actually can stand for the whole.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree. I think those tiny moments can be overlooked, but their life is made up of a series of millions of tiny moments, and just encapsulating one of those sometimes is more meaningful than, like you say, the grand sweep of history. Um, what I love about your picture is that it's not in a square frame. It's in a weird, it's a diamond shape, but it's not even a diamond shape. The bottom's sort of oozing out of the diamond, isn't it? So it's
So it
yeah,
kind of picks up all the aspects that probably Anthony wanted to incorporate into that scene.
yeah,
And life doesn't fit in nice neat square boxes. There is
yes,
often something interesting happening off to the side where you think, actually, I want to
exactly.
include that as well, but we'll leave the rest sort of thing. So actually, and
Yeah,
that sort of flows through his work, I think, in terms of
yeah,
being able to, yeah, play around with the size and shape, and it doesn't have to fit into boxes, and it doesn't have to be grand statements and big
yeah.
important people.
Brilliant. There's one more thing to talk about, Hannah, which is your theft. If you could get away with it, what artwork would you steal? What would you love to keep for yourself? So yours is?
And rather alarmingly, I went straight to Paris, and I have. I want to steal an experience rather than the physical artwork. I would love to have very greedily my own time in the L'Orangerie looking at Monet's water lilies. That would be, and it's a very selfish deal because I just don't want to share it with all of the other tourists and all of the other groups of students. So in that setting, which is, beautifully designed to be a part of the experience of looking at
Right.
these monumental paintings, I'd like the keys, please, so that I can go in and maybe for a whole day, because I think I understand that as the day changes, as the light outside
Yeah.
changes, so then obviously the experience of looking at the paintings changes. So
Well, do you know what?
I
As the
think
art is
that's
good
it.
for you, Fairy, your wish is granted. I will give you the
Oh, thank you
keys
very much.
to Monet's
I
Orangery.
realised it's a very calming experience as well, and maybe that's what
Yeah.
you also need after 7 years working on the
Norwich
Norwich
Castle.
Castle project. That sort of maybe that is my lifeboat at the moment that I need is
Yeah.
something whereby I can just be in the moment, experience that that artwork in all of its glory in the space in which maybe shows it off the best.
Yeah.
I don't think it would fit in the house is the other thing. I daren't steal it because don't think I've got the wall space.
I think I'd like to steal that as well, but obviously not on the same day as you. Super. Well, Hannah, thank you so much for talking. It's been fantastic. I learned a lot about you, and I've known you a long time. So it's really, really lovely to chat about your love of the coast and your dad's work and the hats with your mum and all the family associations. And I mean, a final question. Do you believe art is good for you? I think it's pretty obvious.
I think absolutely. And I think actually just reflecting as we've done today is that in itself has, I think, really kind of given me a bit more buoyancy for the next few days, months, weeks, whatever, as well. So I
Oh.
think, yes, it's made me reconnect with the art that means so much. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, and thank you for talking to me. Hannah, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for listening to Art is Good for You with me, Rachel Duffield. If you can't wait for more art-based chat, or even better, this podcast has inspired you to pick up a paintbrush or a pencil yourself, you can find details of all my classes, including my community art clubs, on my website, www.rachelduffield.art.com. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Just search Rachel Duffield Art. What have you got to lose? Remember, art is good for you.